This is the plaintiff, Arthur Rock. He says he gave his neighbor a bunch of his stuff to sell at a flea market, and the guy hasn't given him his cut of the things he sold. In fact, the defendant claims he sold only 2 bikes, and the rest of the stuff was all thrown out because it was junk. Well, he has some nerve trying to rip him off like that, and he's suing him here for the $1,880 he's most definitely owed. This is the defendant, Danny Carvey. He says the plaintiff told him he had 150 crates of vinyl records, so he drove 2 hours to the guy's house, only to find out he was lied to. The only thing he took was 3 bikes, and he only sold 1 and returned the other 2. The plaintiff's a liar. He never took anything else, and he owes this opportunist nothing. He's accused of not splitting the profits.
All parties, please do radiant.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff gave his neighbor a bunch of stuff to sell at a flea market and says the guy isn't giving him his cut. But the defendant says he only took 3 bikes and only sold 1, and besides, plaintiff deceived him. It's the case of I had an itch to go to the flea market.
Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Mr. Rock.
Yes.
According to you, Mr. Carvey took a ton of stuff that he was supposed to pay you for and didn't, correct?
Yes.
How do you two know each other to begin with?
Mr. Carvey lives on an adjoining building to me, and I've known him, his father, for quite some time, and he does flea markets. His father does, and he does flea markets as well. And I was talking to him, and he says, "Gee, I really need merchandise very badly. It's important to me. I don't have any merchandise to sell." So I said, "Well, I have a lot of things at my house in Massachusetts, and I'll be glad to sell it to you." And with that, we decided what day we're going up there, and
What did you tell him you had in Massachusetts?
I gave him. I had pictures of everything I had.
Do you have the pictures with you?
Yes, I do, and quite a few things were in there.
Thank you very much.
So did he show you these pictures before you drove up? I don't hear you.
No,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Well, this is creepy. Sad Santa.
That's Santa Claus.
It's a sad Santa.
Well, because
like a depressed Santa on
mice,
meds, or should be on meds.
The
or
mice
something.
got it.
That's what I
What?
did.
That was the mice got it, but my wife won that on Wheel of Fortune.
She won that on Wheel of Fortune.
But it had whiskers at that time.
Maybe the whiskers would make it happier. So according to you, what is it he tells you?
First of all, I'm never in need for merchandise. I've been doing this business since I was 5 years old. My father
Well,
taught
if
me
you're doing this business, you like merchandise, right?
Yeah,
Because you
but
drove him to Massachusetts to
He
get the
said he
merchandise.
was going to give me 150 crates of vinyl, rock and roll records, which are worth a lot of money in my business.
Uh-huh.
And when I got to his house, I ended up transporting 6 of his automobile tires and his dog and him to, which was 4-hour drive to Massachusetts. I got to his garage. His garage was totally empty. There was no records anywhere. He says, "They're downstairs. They're downstairs." So I go downstairs with him. He has 1 box of records. He's rifling through them, whatever it is. And he didn't give me the box at all. He said, "Oh, I can't give this to you." So then he ends up just giving me the bicycle. I'm like, "So what did I come here for? For nothing?" Like usually I would charge $1,500 for a moving job like that. You know, to go to Massachusetts, and that's 8 hours out of my day. And I got nothing.
Well, why wouldn't
That
you take the
merchandise-
other stuff that was there?
I didn't, because it was garbage. It wouldn't have sold where I sell in Manhattan. I sell high-end merchandise. I can't sell that kind of stuff. It's not worth it to me.
High-end flea market merchandise.
Yeah, well, it's a really famous flea market. It's on 25th Street between 5th and 6th.
So what did you end up doing? Just leaving with bikes after
Just the
driving all the
bikes.
way over there?
Yeah, he's my neighbor. I see him all the time. So I was just like, you know what? I'll just forget about it.
He says that you took all the stuff that was
No,
there.
I didn't take none of that stuff. I don't even know what that is. Is Santa? Why would I take Santa Claus?
Well, I don't know why you would take that Santa Claus, that's for sure. Did you guys have anything like in writing about?
No, there's nothing in writing at all.
What about texts back and forth or something where
Yes,
you have not?
I have a number of texts.
Okay, let me see that.
Thank you, sir.
According to you, all you took was what?
The 3 bicycles. I sold one and I gave back the other 2, and he didn't even recognize the bicycles that he gave me. He gave me a Raleigh and a Huffy and a Panasonic. I sold the Panasonic for $30, and he wanted the other 2 back, which was a Raleigh and a Huffy. I gave it back to him.
Did he give you back 2 bikes?
He took 4 bicycles,
It's 3.
which we had a price on of $30 each. He gave me back 2.
3.
One of them that he gave me back happened to be on the internet. It was a vintage bicycle. It's on the internet for $500.
Oh, so you made out like a bandit.
So no, he gave it to me. He
Okay.
gave it back to me.
What's your dad say about this stuff? Because he says
He thinks it's total nonsense. He harassed my brother when he was on the job about this. He harassed my father. And my father said, you should have never got involved with this guy in the first place because he's I don't want to say it, but.
August 8th, please do not use Easy Pass. I will need back Sunday night. What's that about?
He left the Easy Pass on my Velcro on my van.
Okay.
And he left my van. I have one of my own.
August 8th, you say, I thought you had way more records, Artie. That was a long trip just for that. No worries, though. Usually I charge to transport stuff like that
Yes.
to Massachusetts, like the tires and such.
So basically, I was telling him I charged him for the moving job. I didn't. And I
No,
ended up
but
with
you
nothing.
told me you had 150 boxes of records.
Yeah.
Then the trip would have been worth it for me, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. He answers, you did leave a carton of records as you did not have room in your van. That doesn't sound like you only took 3 bikes. I also have more records in den room and basement besides. You say, okay. You don't say, what are you talking about? I have plenty of room in my van because I only took 3 bikes.
Well, the bikes take up a lot of room in my van. When you put them in the van, it does take up a lot of room. You can see my van.
I don't think you left there empty-handed, my friend. I think you were lying about that. Note on the 2 wall sconces, they should have been sold by you for at least $250 each. They were antiques. Blah, blah. I'd like the electric fan back. Why would he be saying all that if you hadn't taken this stuff? And I know that that electric fan will sell. You and I both know that.
Oh, no, I
Catch
don't know.
you Sunday night for the Easy Pass. And here's your response. Here's what I expect the response to be. What the heck are you talking about? I didn't take 2 wall sconces and an electric fan. You're out of your mind. But here's the response. I'll text you. I'm home at 8:30. I'll be here with your Easy Pass.
Because you wouldn't stop calling me.
What difference does that make? Why wouldn't you say, what are you talking about? I never took the fan.
Well, he's a
I never
neighbor
took
of
this
mine.
other
I
stuff.
don't like to start trouble where I live.
That's not starting trouble. That's all just a matter. You had no problem saying, hey, I thought that it was 150. That's just making a statement. What are you talking about? I didn't take anything else. That's what
it's
you would
'cause you
say.
harassed my
What
brother.
happened is this. You thought you'd be getting that's not harassment to write those sentences down. The reason those sentences weren't written down is because you took stuff besides the bikes and you're lying. That's why.
I really
Which
didn't
is
take-
goofy
I didn't.
because it looks like junk. And if you just admitted it, do you think I'd be ordering you to pay him $1,880? You think that would ever happen? No. So what happens is he lures you there with your truck under the premise that there's some really good. If you interrupt me one more time, under the premise that there's good vinyl. Vinyl works. Yes. Then you get there and there's not a lot of good vinyl, or the only good vinyl there is he won't let you have, or whatever else. I don't know if you did he take any vinyl records, or
Yes,
did he?
he did.
He did. Yeah, let's look back. I thought you had way more records. Way more sounds like maybe you took some vinyl. You see? Yeah, that makes sense. But it wasn't enough to make you a good chunk. So you were a little peeved about it, but not much, because you say, but it's okay. Then he says, you should be selling that for $250, blah, blah, blah. And you don't say, selling what? What are you talking about? I didn't have that, which is very telling to me.
Well, I don't really talk.
Were you up? Stop it. Because you do talk. It's just not what you say. What you say is, I'll be there at 8:30. I'm here with your Easy Pass. Call me. I'm downstairs. You talk. Were you able to get money at least for the bikes for today? Advise. If you want your bikes now, come to the front of my garage. I have work to do.
That's when I'm getting madder.
Who's your uncle?
My uncle's a lawyer, Uncle Rudy.
Is that why you said, okay, so you're really going to waste my time and yours. What are you planning to gain from this? You're not getting anything. Is that because he filed a lawsuit and you received the papers? Yeah. Now I have to get my uncle involved. Whatever, I'll be out of there in 10, I'll be out of there, I think you meant out there in 10 minutes.
I was just really mad. And
so you do know how to talk. Okay. You people have serious problems. Who's you people?
I met him.
Why are you saying plural?
Well,
You said you people. That implies that
I
there's
meant
more.
you, and I
Okay,
guess
you people
the
have
text-
serious problems. You owe me money, you idiot. And no, I'm not going to get it. Then you call him a retard. That's nice. You owe me money, and now my uncle will get it for me. You're messing with the wrong person. You should just leave it be. But now you're going to feel as stupid as you are looking. You have no proof I ever sold anything. Oh, that's not what a person says when... See, all the things you're saying, you know what is never here? I never took anything.
The
Say,
bicycles I took.
your stuff back, no proof, case closed, but I'll see you there. I did you a favor and you're suing me. You lied to me to get me to drive your car, rims, and tires and dog to Massachusetts. How do you expect to get anything, dude? That's what happened. When you thought it through, you were doing him the favor of bringing it over there. It didn't seem like enough booty for you, and so you decided that you didn't owe him anything. I don't sell in the flea market. I do clean outside. What's that mean?
Well, I work with my father at the flea market, and I do cleanouts and moving jobs. And that was considered a moving job, but
I didn't sell any of it stuff. It's not considered a moving job unless it's a moving job from the beginning.
Well,
I didn't sell it any of it stuff. I gave it back. All you gave me was the bike. 2 bikes. That was it. Prove me wrong. Yeah. That's all I needed to know that he's lying. Prove me wrong. All I know is whatever you gave me, I gave back. That's all I know. That you made me drive you to Massachusetts, no gas, no food, no money for the labor. You're just wasting my time. I need to work. That's all you're doing. You have no proof. You have no proof. You have no proof. All I know, blah, 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 at all. You're not getting anything, just to let you know. I don't remember even doing this at all for you. Well, that's a weird thing to say.
that was just being funny.
Yeah, what was that? Was that you being funny, or was that you explaining how willing you are to lie, but putting it in writing?
I was just very mad because I went all the way there and I ended up with nothing at all. And those things that he's accusing me of taking, I didn't take.
What was the agreement on what your cut was going to be? Was any of that in writing?
No, I did not make any agreement.
So then what? How do
I'll
you
tell you.
decide that your cut's going to be 100% of the items?
Why are vinyl records better? You like records?
I don't mind a record.
Okay, why vinyl?
Original sound, and it feels great to touch.
I don't understand. I'm sorry. I don't understand that because you're listening. You're not touching.
I tend to touch as well, but it's listening is the main thing. But touch and feel is all good as well.
Opinion?
It's psychological. I think CDs are better. Digital is better.
CDs are better.
Yeah, digital.
Okay, I need a tiebreaker, ma'am.
I love vinyl.
Why?
I grew up on it.
So did I.
Nat King Cole on all the famous.
Oh man, I can beat you on this.
And I it brings it home. So I understand.
Oh, that had a lot of soul in it. It brings it home.
I understand.
I got you. I understand what you're saying. Going inside the courtroom.
I had no price set in it. Okay, he seemed to be a nice young man.
But nice young man has nothing to do with not setting a percentage or a price or anything else. How are you going to enforce it? Just like he says in his text.
Right.
How are you going to enforce it? How are you going to know how much is enough? What if the two of you disagree? He's a neighbor. You want a problem with your neighbor? What if you disagree on how much you should get? How could you leave that open-ended like that?
I would have left it open. Honestly, he came to the house. He had no.
Why
money
would you
in
leave it open-ended is the pending question.
Because I did it to try to help him out.
Okay, so let's assume he's standing in front of you with an envelope filled with money. And he gives you 100 and you say, well, I think I deserve a lot more. And then he asks the obvious question, how much more? What would your answer be?
I would say, besides the bicycles, you should give me at least another $500-600 for it.
$500 or $600 for the junk I'm seeing in that picture.
It was not junk, but okay.
Well, I mean, when you expect $500 or $600 as your cut, you should get stuff in writing.
Yes, you're 100%
when you expect
right.
somebody to throw a few bucks at you, it's different.
Right.
Okay. All right, folks. All you had to do was say, hey, Judge, I couldn't sell it. It was all junk. That would have been a believable defense. But I so know from the content of these texts that you came into court, swore to tell the truth. By the way, I noticed when you raised your right hand, you put your left one behind you. What were you doing?
I don't know. I'm used to
Just
going
that
like
way?
this.
That way? Was he crossing his fingers, folks? Anything like that? I was kind of wondering why. I just had never seen that before. It was.
I used to be a pro wrestler.
Okay, but I believe you. It's fine. It's fine.
I feel like I'm getting.
But I really don't believe you here. I don't. I believe that you took more than the bikes. And so that puts me in a difficult position, which is I can't believe anything you say. Now I got to just make up what it is you were able to sell and what you weren't able to sell. And then in doing so, I'm going to really think about the fact that you had put your hand down, no percentage set. I'm going to really think about the fact that you had no plan whatsoever. I'm going to really think about the fact that you are crazy if you think I'm going to order him to pay you $1,880. You know, that would be the full value of what you've made up, which would never happen at a flea market. It's so off the mark, so off the mark. It's just nutty. You know, if you feel like you gave him the Rosetta Stone, then act like you did and have stuff in writing beforehand. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to order you to pay him something because I don't think you've dealt fairly. But the something isn't going to be $1,880. It's going to be what we call a moral victory for you. I'm ordering you to pay him $100. That's my verdict.
So the judge finds for the plaintiff and orders the defendant to give the plaintiff $100. How about that?
I think the guy is just loopy. I mean, I really didn't take that stuff. I took the bicycles and that was it. And I'm getting blamed. Like that stuff that he showed her, it was garbage. Like honestly, I would have threw it in the trash if I ever got my hands on that. I've been doing this kind of business for a long time.
You had no deal with him though? I mean, what would you have given him for whatever you sold?
I was sitting in my van. He comes up to me.
80%, 50%, 20%? What?
I don't know. He didn't even give me a number.
No, but I mean, what would you normally give
I wasn't going to give him anything because
Really?
he said that was for payment for driving him there.
Oh, well. All right. That's it. Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Rock. You learned a lesson today, didn't you? You have no agreement at all on money.
I didn't have an agreement. Well, I should have.
Yeah,
However, he took things and he said he's going to do
Point
it.
is, you had no agreement whatsoever. You should have.
And he came up without any money in his pocket, which was surprising. I bought him lunch. He said he didn't have lunch. But
Thank you very much. You get $100.
Right.
Good enough. Okay. Harvey?
I mean, this was such a loosey-goosey agreement, Doug. I mean, when you're dealing with friends and neighbors and relatives, even more important to get it in writing so you don't have disputes like this.